speak with a sound system to this group of protesters calling for restraint and to be respectful in their protests. And again, you mentioned in your response earlier that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he would be proud of that kind of thoughtful discourse and leadership, you said. I want you to stand by because I want to bring in the governor of North Carolina, Pat McCrory. Governor, you declared a state of emergency moments ago. Why?
The chief of police requested that additional assistance. We've been preparing since 8 o'clock this morning for deployments to Charlotte in case this type of incident happened. And I was in conversations with the mayor and police chief throughout the day. And due to our state protocol, it's up to them to ask the governor for a state of emergency. So we are on standby waiting for that. And we got it about 15 to 20 minutes ago from the chief.
So State Highway Patrol troopers are there in Charlotte. What are their orders?
I'm gonna let the chief of police help give those orders and help them deploy it. I think most of the assets usually in these circumstances are to protect buildings and assets. So the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department can actually work the street, clear the street, the sidewalks, and make the appropriate arrest when necessary, while hopefully the guard that will be coming into the city during the evening will be protecting any buildings and assets so the police can do their job.
I spoke with
we cannot tolerate violence. We cannot tolerate the destruction of property, and will not tolerate the attacks toward our police officers that are occurring right now. And I feel very strongly about that. That is not the American way. These police officers are showing a tremendous amount of courage, and there's obviously a few hundred people who have come to our town center in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a great city, and their major goal seems to be destruction and harm, and that's wrong, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah, I spoke with the mayor, Jennifer Roberts, earlier. She said she was considering a curfew. I'm wondering if you think there should have been a curfew in Charlotte tonight, and does this state of emergency put one into effect, essentially?
Right now, it does not, but I was mayor of Charlotte for 14 years. It's one thing I don't want to do is second-guess someone in the middle of an event, and I'm not going to do that. But a curfew is definitely a very strong option. I've used a curfew before as mayor of Charlotte during other events. The big disadvantage right now for any mayor and any governor is the use of social media, which is we didn't have that back in the days when I was mayor from 95 to 2007 or 2009. And this social media makes it very difficult because now the protesters can do a much better job in coordinating and directing people where our police presence is. And plus, frankly, the media, I want to encourage y'all not to encourage people playing to the camera, which could help incite violence for the wrong purposes.
Well, anytime that happens, we take the pictures off of those. But you know, we're in a tough situation because it's our duty to cover it, but we don't want to cover,
Well, you're walking a fine line just like our police are walking a fine line, and I'm glad you'll respect that because you know that in your business, and I know that in my business that some people will incite violence for a show at the expense of our community and the expense of our safety of citizens and especially our police officers. These police officers are under a tremendous amount of stress right now, not just in Charlotte, but throughout the nation. And they're hardworking men and women who are also having, at times, difficulty walking that fine line.
Yeah.
And it's a life and death fine line.
I agree with you, and you know what? As we say, there is always one knucklehead, if not more, in any situation, and sometimes that happens.
I think I see more than one.
Yeah, if not more. Yeah.
And their goal is not to contribute to a discussion. Their goal is destruction and anarchy, and that is something our nation cannot accept. And as governor of North Carolina, I will not accept someone trying to turn a very good city into anarchy, and we're going to stop it and deal with those individuals.
That's very well put, Governor. And I want to ask you about this regarding this video of the shooting of Keith Lamont Scott yesterday. What's the law in North Carolina about the release of this video, and do you believe that this video should be released?
You know, I think it's appropriate for me to let the police and the chief and the mayor respond to that. because one thing I learned as a mayor for 14 years, and now I'm on my 4th year as governor, is that you don't want several people speaking on behalf of the leadership in a city, and I'm not going to begin that process. I wouldn't appreciate it if I was mayor and the governor started doing that, but there is a new law that's coming into effect actually October 1st, and I'm sure the mayor and the police chief will give you details about the existing law and the new law that's actually not coming into place till October 1st. But I will say this, we have to be extremely concerned about videos because we also have to protect the constitutional rights of our police officers to ensure that they get a fair hearing while it's at the same time respecting the families. That's another very important ingredient, and then also the transparency to the public. But we do have constitutional rights here that have to be protected, and investigations have to be protected. So regarding videos, it's also a very fine line, very similar to the one you're using tonight, and what you show in your video and what you don't show in your video.
Don't you think, though, I mean, I'm not saying that you're advocating for the release of it, and I know that you don't want to speak for the mayor and for other officials, but if you see it in front of your eyes, for your very own eyes, that would, don't you think that there would be no question about what happened? Some of this may be avoided.
Well, one thing that I've learned in this business for now 25 years, as a city councilman, chairman of the Public Safety Committee, as a mayor for 14 years, now as a governor for 3, one viewpoint of a video doesn't often always tell the whole story. The angles can make a difference, and the not hearing often in the video, so that the complexity, the video is one piece of evidence, and we have to be very careful. And then I go back to the constitutional rights of our police officers, which you also have to protect.
Yeah,
and it's a very delicate line that we as society are dealing with all the new media that is available. And in one respect, it can be used to a very great positive thing for our public. In another way, the video can also be abused.
You haven't seen this video, have you, Governor?
No, sir.
You haven't?
No,
okay.
sir. I'm going to leave that up.
Yeah.
It's my job to allow the local police department and local police chief do their job. Most likely, the state will be involved in, and this is another reason I have to be very careful what I say to make sure if the FBI, which I'm in charge of, if they take control of the investigation, I have to be very careful in my comments out of respect of all parties.
Okay, understood. So, listen, obviously no one condones the violence. We have spoken out against it here this evening. You have as well. But you know that you represent even the people who are being violent, or citizens of your state. Do you understand the concerns that have brought people out to, and maybe this level of anger and frustration?
I understand concerns, and I understand frustration and anger, but I never will respect violence. Violence is unacceptable, and we've got to get that word out. Violence of throwing things at our police officers, violence of breaking windows. Violence only causes more chaos, and violence does not seek a solution. Good, positive, constructive dialogue, this is not the first time. When I was mayor of Charlotte back in 96, 97 time period, we had some very tough shootings, very similar to what we're seeing now throughout our nation. And the way we resolved it is through conversation and facts and patience. And violence is the last alternative. And we have some great leaders who used to espouse that, including the great Martin Luther King, who did not promote violence whatsoever. I just strongly disagree with any violence or destruction of property. And sadly, it looks like we've had one person killed tonight, and that does no one any good.
Unless you have some new information, what the latest, Governor, you should know that we got, which was a correction, was that that person was on life support and was in critical condition. Unless that person has passed within just the moments that we were speaking, there was a correction.
Thank you for that clarification.
Wow. Well, I mean, look, this is a correction. It's up on now from the city of Charlotte, saying the civilian who suffered gunshot wound during protests is on life support, critical condition, not deceased. That was the official information that everyone got earlier, including you, and then this just came out just a short time ago.
Violence,
right.
One comment I made earlier today in support of the police chief and the community leaders in Charlotte is we want peace, we want conversation, and we also want to support our police who are right now under great deal of stress in downtown Charlotte. Again, a city that I have a passion and a love for. I'm actually in Raleigh now, in the state capital, but I know every block of that city blindfolded, and it's a beautiful, beautiful city with great people, and it's a very good police department with good training, and they're going through a difficult time, and we as a nation and as a state are going to do everything we can to support them, while also recognizing this very, very tough situation for our citizens. But
you said
no
earlier,
violence is going to be allowed.
You said earlier that video can be taken a number of different ways and taken out of context. Where are you on the body cam law? Do you support it?
I'm an advocate of a body cam, but I signed the body cam law, which allows the video to be shown to the family, and also respects the right of our police officers, and also has a way to show the public. So it's respecting the public, respecting the family, and also respecting the constitutional rights of a police officer. Mm-hmm. And that's the fine line we're trying to walk. And, we'll always try to improve upon this, because, Don, as you know, with technology, there's something new we learn every day. And there are a lot of lessons that we're going through, and that includes policing and technology. And there are also issues of there are a lot of issues regarding the privacy of other people in videos.
Why not release it to the public, though? Because you're the state attorney general and the ACLU are upset that it blocks it from the public viewing.
Don, I've got to respect the constitutional right of our police officers and also the investigation. And we're also.
What about the constitutional right of the citizens, though?
And I'm going to protect a person's constitutional right at the same time.
And the constitutional right of the citizen?
Absolutely. In fact, some citizens in videos we might need to protect also in videos. Yeah. Because a lot of times we have innocent people within a video, videos that might be in domestic violence disputes and so forth. Listen, Don, I got to get back to work. I've got a lot of work to do.
Governor, before you go, I know you have to go, but can I ask you one question?
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do tonight.
Okay. Can I ask you one question before you go?
One more, and
yeah.
We got to get to work.
Great. A public defender was on the ground. He told CNN earlier that leaders needed to stand up, have Charlotte's leaders. Do you think Charlotte's leaders have been visible enough since this shooting occurred and these protests have started?
The time to do an evaluation is afterwards, not in the middle of the crisis. And right now we're in the middle of crisis. Let the leaders do the best job they can, and respect them, and deal with very difficult circumstances. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. The governor of North Carolina,
thank you very much, Governor. Governor Pat McCrory joining us this evening with some very good information and how he feels about what's going on there, the shooting of Mr. Scott, and also about the protests that have been happening and the violence as well. Let's bring in now CNN law enforcement. Do I still have Gregory Meeks with me? Is Congressman Meeks? No? No, Congressman's not with us. Okay, let's bring in law enforcement.